What's up there, guys? Siphon King here. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit interesting. I'm going to try to give out over 35 different Rust tips that I created in the 1,500 hours that I've played this game. So if you're a complete beginner or you know a little about Rust and you just want some extra tips, I encourage you to watch this whole video. At the end, I will be also sharing some tips that I got from some pretty big Rust YouTubers and Twitch streamers. I gave them all around $5 donations to ask them for some beginner tips for Rust. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to make this video as quick as I can. And I'm just going to do this in real time. I'm going to try to give all my best tips while I'm playing the game. If I get killed, I get killed. That's just how it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to run through the first part, which is hunting and gathering. Then I'm going to go into building, and then I'm going to go into some PvP tips and some extra tips as well. So I hope you guys like this video. If you do, make sure you help me trick the YouTube algorithm by leaving a like on this video and comment with "I've subscribed," and I will reply back to you saying thanks. So anyways, let's just get into it. The first tip we're going to cover is starting out. So this is for people with literally just 1 hour. Usually if you start out, you're going to have just a rock and a torch. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to head to your nearest tree, or either hit another naked to try to kill them so you can gather their bones for a bone club. But either way, I'm going to start out by hitting this tree. And once you have enough wood, you're going to basically try to make a spear or a bow, depending on whether or not you find any cloth. So I already have a base set up here. It's just a little 1x1 just to save time, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this quick enough without a 1x1. So you can see here I have a little bit of wood. So to build a spear, you can go to your quick craft. All you have to do is just press the spear, or you can go over here and go to your weapons and build it here. Now, a few things you need to know about your weapons. You're not going to have everything that you see here when you first start out. You're going to need something called a blueprint to create these, and all of these are different level blueprints. So this one is actually a higher tier than a revolver that you'd actually have. And the way you build these is you actually need to accumulate something called scrap, which is this little thing. And the way you get this is from hitting barrels or finding boxes. And then once you have enough of this, you can craft something called a workbench. And that's where you're going to be able to build these different weapons. And also random, you can put scrap into the workbench for different blueprints, and you'll randomly get them depending on whether or not you have them. So anyways, if we go back outside, we can do a few things now that we have a spear. We can go hunt animals. Let's talk about what animals you're going to want to hunt. First of all, for animal fat, which is what you're going to want to build a furnace to melt steel and other things like sulfur, so that you can build like metal doors and guns and stuff like that. The way you're going to do that is by building a furnace. And what you need for a furnace is animal fat, and to get animal fat you need to kill animals. So I'm just going to list off the best animals to kill for animal fat. Here you go. All of this will be in the description as well. So the best animals to kill for animal fat go in order of bear. You get 100 animal fat. For boar, you get 39 to 41. For deer, you get 10. For horse, you get 10. For wolf, you get 10. And for human, you get 1 to 2. To build a furnace, I think you need about 25, and you also need cloth to build the actual low grade. So if you take 2 of these and or a couple of these, you should be able to make some low grade. Just type it in. This is easier to do it this way. Actually, I need 3 animal fat, and that will give us, I think, around 3 low grade. So then you're going to need 50 low grade total to make a furnace. And then once you have a furnace, you can basically start melting stuff. And the way you melt stuff, you just drag it in there. When you do melt stuff, you're going to want to separate into 3 different stacks like this so that it burns faster. And make sure you check on it, because if it gets over 100 coal or 1,000 coal, it's going to stop burning. Another thing you're going to want to do, so say for instance you do get a bow, you're going to need cloth and wood. So we'll just craft that. And then what you're going to need is some stone, because in order to make the arrows, you need stone and wood. You can craft with also bone fragments, or you can make high velocity arrows. either the bone arrows or the high velocity arrows. I don't really recommend. Try to stick to regular arrows if you can. So I'm just going to make like, I don't know, probably like 6 or 12 of these because this will give me 2 each. Good place to be around is like probably like, actually let's do 8. We'll do 16 is a good place to be around unless you're really good with the bow. Another thing that I will recommend is if you do have the metal, try to make a eoka. These are really overpowered in my opinion when you're starting out early, and one of the things that I will recommend to people who are just spawning into this game, go over to your nearest monument, like one over here. A monument's basically something that you're gonna see on the map, like the harbor, supermarket, water treatment plant, wherever, and you're gonna basically just run over there and hit barrels until you can find some stuff to recycle. Once you're able to recycle some stuff, you can get enough hopefully metal and wood to build a eoka. All you need is 30 metal fragments and 75 wood to build an eoka. You also probably want to know how much tools cost for basic gathering. For all of the different tools, I have them listed as well. So stone hatchet to farm wood or trees, it's 200 wood, 100 stone. For stone pickaxe, 200 wood, 100 stone. Bows, 200 wood, 50 cloth. Bandages, 4 cloth. Wooden spears, 300 wood. So it's just good to know this stuff when you are starting out. So here we can see a box here. All we have to do is press E to open it up. We got a couple things that are decent here. We got a rad suit. We can just put that on. And to see how much armor that gives us, we just have to hover over our body. So 30 defense against firearms or anything that's going to be shooting at us. And then the 30 right here is protection against melee and stabbing weapons. So if you need to hover over that to remember, there you go. All this other stuff just shows you how much protection you have against, there's a guy over there, explosives, cold, because you can get cold if you're in the snow, radiation if you go to any radiation zones, and animals if animals are attacking you. So in order to talk to people, you can press V. Hey sir, how you doing? Are you friendly? I'm just doing a little tutorial right now. So if I want to put my weapon away, I can press the number and it'll put the weapon away so he doesn't see that I have my bow out. If I wanted to kill him, all I would have to do is bring out... Yes, sir? It's a nice beard you have there. So if I want to kill him, I just bring my bow out and then I would try to shoot him like this. And of course he's going to fight back. Headshots do more damage. I did 2 headshots. He's got a lot of health. I'm going to bring out my spear, give him a stab, and just throw it at his head. The way you throw spears is you just go ahead and right click to hold, and then you press the left trigger to throw. So to loot him, I'm just going to press E, grab all this stuff. And by the way, when you are looting, make sure you move around, because if you're just standing still and somebody else comes by, they can straight up just headshot you really easily because you're standing still. So constantly be moving when you are playing. Also, if there are other people and there's been fighting going around and you walk up to a scene where there is fighting, if you kill somebody, make sure you're still moving around and looking at your surroundings before you loot. If the guy looks super loaded and you're like, oh my god, you start looting and then you get killed, that's going to be your fault. So I try to make it a rule that if I do see a lot of fighting or I hear other people around, to not loot until I look around first. Now, there is an exception if there is a gun on the ground. Sometimes it's better to just run and pick it up really quickly and then try to shoot with it because then you'll have a little bit more of an advantage. All right, so let's grab our spear. Oh, do I hear someone? I don't think so. So we're going to grab our stuff. We're going to make it over to the recycler. There's another guy behind us. And we're going to try to make a little eoka because, again, they are very powerful. People don't generally expect you to have them, too, if you are naked. By the way, if you see a sash on somebody like this, it means that they've touched a weapon in the past or previously or at any point. If there's no sash there, then you know that they haven't touched a weapon, so you don't have to be as worried about them. But if you see a sash on them, just make sure to try to kill him as soon as you can. Okay, so let's talk about PvP. So when you are PvPing, something that's really good to note is try to stand behind objects and then peek when people are coming at you. If you're just out in the open right here and you're just standing still, you're going to get killed very quickly. So try to peek and shoot and then go back behind the thing that you're shooting from. And then when somebody's coming at you, don't just stay in that one spot. Try to maybe, oh, somebody's here. Oh, missed him. Okay, he's good. So anyways, what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and stay behind this. And then when you peek them from this side, you know, then come up from the top and then shoot them from here as well. And then shoot them through this thing, you know. That way you can kind of stay, you know, versatile and they're not going to know what to expect. Another thing is when you're aiming, try to aim at them first, like aim here at their head. And if they're moving, try to move like this with your body instead of just your mouse. If you move with your body, it's easier to aim rather than if you're just trying to sway around with your mouse, especially if you're new, because it's hard to get used to the aiming on this game. This is actually one of the hardest games that I've personally found to aim. So I'm going to just put this stuff in this recycler. I just have to press E to open it. And actually this water bottle, or this water container is good for healing, but it's actually going to give us metal frags. So I'm going to recycle that. Let it go. Now, if you let this recycler go like this, and somebody else comes up to it, they're going to be able to open it. But if you're holding it like this, it says occupied, they won't be able to open it. Okay, so those apparently don't recycle. So we now have enough for an eoka. I'm going to make one. Okay, so another rule about PvP is when you are fighting as well, if you can get high ground, that's going to be even more helpful to you. That way you'll have the ability to peek on them. Sort of like if they're down here and you like crouch, you can uncrouch and peek on them and then, you know, kind of get like an uphill advantage. Rather, if you're downhill trying to do the same thing, it's a little bit harder because they have the peek advantage. But sometimes it is better to be lower ground. It just really depends. Did I see somebody? It just really depends on sort of... Hold on. Think you heard me? Oh, yeah, he did. He's got a bow. Hit him once. Might die. I just realized. So, another part about this game... Did you see how I had a bunch of food? I've been so preoccupied with this tutorial, I forgot to eat. And I probably could have easily... Ha! That guy's actually my friend. Hold on, I'm in Discord with him right now. Watch this. Dude. Evo. Okay, maybe he can't. He's... There he is.
Yeah. He's here.
Yo. I'm literally doing a tutorial right now. I'm talking about how to play Rust. And I was literally talking about how I was fighting you right there. And then I'm like, okay, well, he just killed me. And saw it was your name.
You?
That was me, dude.
The hazmat.
Yeah.
Oh my, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's just part of the game. Anyways, I'm going to get back to this tutorial.
You scared me, dude. I saw you across the thing. You shot me.
Yeah, it's all good,
I
man.
didn't even know that was you.
I'll talk to you guys in a second. I'm just going to finish this tutorial. Alright, so anyways, it's always good to have a sleeping bag so that way you can spawn. And it's also good to remember to name your sleeping bag correctly. You can see here, I haven't named mine correctly, so I don't remember which one's mine. I think it's this one. Yep, it's the right one. So let's rename it now. We'll just call it, you know, tutorial home. Now, when you respawn in these bags, you have to remember to, you know, that there is a respawn timer. So if I respawn this and I get killed again, there's gonna be like a 300-second respawn time. So it might be wise to make an outside bag as well. So if I click on this sleeping bag right here and I run outside, I'm gonna be able to have a separate respawn timer if I put it somewhere else. And I recommend to do this, like, you know, in most cases. I don't know when you wouldn't do this. So I'm just gonna run at least probably a square, maybe a square and a half away, just to make sure I'm far enough away. If I'm not far enough, then the bags are gonna have the same spawn timer because they're too close together. Some other tips. One tip I got from the Twitch channel or the YouTuber Trowsy. He says, don't trust anyone and start on a lower populated server. So the server I'm on right now is rustified.com. This server is extremely difficult because there are clans and huge population. So you might want to start on maybe like more of like a solo or duo server or something with like lower population, because that way you don't have to worry as much about getting killed all the time. So I'm going to name this outside bag. Okay. Some other things that you're going to want to think about is if you are living next to like huge clans, like maybe this is a huge clan, looks like could be, to ask them to perhaps, you know, party up with you, or at least, you know, maybe not kill you if they see you. So I'm going to try that right now just to show you what happens. Hello? Anyone home? I think their base might have decayed or something. It looks like they might have gotten raided. So yeah, I mean, realistically, all you could do is just go to their base, knock on their door. Hello? Looking for a friendly neighbor. And then try to pair up with them. That way, you know, at least you're going to be finding other people that aren't in your, like, exact, right next to your base. This would be really helpful because you don't want to, like, only fight against your neighbors. It's going to be really annoying walking out your door every 5 seconds and getting killed. Or, you know, vice versa. Because they're just going to be after you all the time if you're killing them as well. So let's go over some building tips really quick. Let me run back over here. First thing that you want to think about is sort of, you know, how many people you're going to be playing with. So if you're going to be playing with a lot of people, you know, your base design is going to be looking a little bit different. But in most cases, I do recommend starting with like a starter base and then moving to a, you know, more advanced base. I'll just go over like a basic starter base that you can use that I sort of like. And, you know, if you do want to look at other base tutorials, of course, you know, I would recommend that. I'm not an expert base builder by any means. So I'm just going to take this wood and make a building plan and a hammer. While that crafts, let's just talk about a couple things. So first of all, if you build a wall and the wall on the outside looks like this right here, well, what's going to happen is people can soft side, it's called soft side, you know, pick into your base, and then you're going to be a lot of trouble. And even if they do that, you want to make sure to lock your boxes and your TC if you can. That way, you know, you don't have to worry about, even if people get in, breaking into your TC. Now, obviously, people can still do this if they have, like, you know, a flamethrower or flame arrows or something more powerful than a spear. But if they just have spears, they'll probably run away and not try to raid into this. Also, if your wall is reversed, you have a 5-minute time to reverse it again. If you don't have that ability more because it's already been 5 minutes, what you can actually do is you can upgrade it and then you can rotate it for the next 5 minutes. So if you do forget, you know, you can upgrade it and, you know, that's fine. The only time you can upgrade it, though, of course, is if you're upgrading it to the next level. If this is already stone and it's reversed, then you're going to have to go to metal. If it's already metal, then you're going to have to go to armored. Some other tips about building is to make sure you build an airlock. So if you have just a base like this and somebody runs, you know, somebody comes up to you, they can kill you and just get right into your base. So you want to build some sort of airlock. The best way to do that really is just to build like a triangle in front of your base. And it looks like this isn't going to let me do it. Let me see if I can do it on the back just to show you. So just imagine this is the front door. I could just build a little wall and another door right here. And what I can actually do is if I put the door here, I can have it open up into the inside. So even if they try to get in and both doors are open, they won't be able to because the door will be blocking it. But in terms of a good starter base, I'm actually just going to leave a link in the description because I don't have enough to make it. Basically what it is, though, is it's just like a little 2x2. And what you're going to do is you're just going to build a second floor with a window. And what you're going to do is have a little furnace that you can jump up on to get to the top. And then you have windows overlooking the base. And then they can't just go straight in. They have to go through the top. It's helpful for people who are going to be door camping you, especially if you're new. Okay, so another tip is to make your foundations the right height. You can see here I did this the wrong height, so now I can't continue building here, which is a big problem. So I'm gonna have to go probably build a base somewhere else or soft side one of the walls. Another thing is to honeycomb your base. If you don't know what that means, people talk about this a lot. Basically all honeycomb is to create triangles like this. Hold on. Create triangles like this where you're gonna basically not have anything except just an extra part of the base. So if I upgrade all this to wood like this, basically that's one part of the honeycomb. So ideally raiders wouldn't know to blow into here or into here unless they, you know, looked through. You can actually look through wood, which is a little bit unfortunate why you want to upgrade to stone. If you look through the ceiling, you can actually see through the cracks, and they would be able to see that there's nothing in here. It's just a twig floor, which, by the way, one other tip is to make sure you always upgrade your foundations first. You can see here I messed up on that. So if somebody were to break that, it would break this whole thing. So always upgrade your foundations first. But anyways, yeah, so this would be like, you would basically, for honeycomb, you would build that all around your base. And so it would just be an extra layer of protection if they tried to blow in through the walls instead of into the doors. Okay, so another one that you want to know about is setting your hotkeys. So hotkeys are really useful. Watch this. I can press the letter Q, and literally I'm just running right now. I'm not even touching anything. This is so helpful because like right now I can just drink water. Oh, it's glitching. Right now I can just drink water, and I'm not even touching my mouse or my keyboard, and it's just so annoying to have your hand on here all the time. You can also run, or you can also do other things like auto farm, like set this as like auto clicking basically, so you don't have to, if you want to farm and not have to click on it the whole time, you can do that. You can do stuff for toggling crouch. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do. So if you want to see how to do all that stuff, combat log's really helpful. It lets you see when people hit you, how much you hit them for, if they, almost died, that kind of stuff. If you want to see all that stuff, I will put the link to that in the description, so you can just go and copy all those hotkeys into your command input, which is going to be on F1 console input. Some other tips is if you build a campfire, and you see my health right down here at the right is 75, and then the food is at 293, and then that water is at 119. If I'm at above 100 on both of those and I stand next to a campfire, what will happen is I'll actually be able to heal. So if you're below that and you stand next to a campfire, you're not going to heal. However, if you are next to another person that's like on your team, and you're both standing next to it, and it says you have 100% comfort, you're going to be able to heal then as well. So another thing that you're going to want to know about is F1 kill. So if you press the F1 key and type in kill, you'll be able to kill yourself. And what that'll do is actually help you get out of situations like, for instance, if you're down and you have a base next to you, like somebody hit you down and you're not full dead, you can kill yourself and then respawn quicker rather than wait to get back up. Which, by the way, if you do get down, you do have a 20% chance to get back up. But that is pretty low, so I would try not to rely on that. If you end up getting a crossbow and you see a barrel, you can actually hit that barrel with the crossbow, and most of the time it will one-shot the barrels, which is nice. However, just be careful if you do try to hit barrels and you have to reload and there's somebody around you. Crossbows too take a little bit of time to reload. So one of the things that you can do to help get more shots out of a crossbow is to build another crossbow. If you have two crossbows, you're going to actually be able to hit somebody once with it and then switch to your other crossbow in your hotbar and hit somebody again. It's just nice to do because there's like absolutely no reload time at that point. Another thing is, if you do get 60 scraps, I would recommend building multiple eokas, or even multiple weapons of any kind, as long as it's not like a crossbow. I mean, as long as it's not a bow. It's really helpful because then you can switch in between your weapons and there's no reload time in general, like we were just talking about the crossbows. So if you do end up getting to the point where you're able to raid, I'm going to be leaving also a list of all... Oh. Hello, I'm friendly. I'm just making a tutorial. Hello? Oh my god, that almost killed him. So you see how that's super effective? A second ago I didn't have an eoka, so he looked like I was just completely naked. Oh, there's two people here. But obviously that didn't do enough damage. So I can check combat log, and you can see here what he was at. It takes 10 seconds to refresh. You can't see it instantly, unfortunately. And he was at, player was at 52 health. So I guess it didn't really do that close to enough. To kill somebody with eoka, you have to be a lot closer. Okay, so anyways, back to raiding. So if you do find yourself in a place where you are raiding, here's a quick list of explosives for their costs and by their cost. So obviously you're going to need BPs or blueprints to be able to build explosives like satchels and stuff like that. but you can find those out of crates. But anyways, here's a quick list of explosives. So F1 grenade, 60 sulfur. Bean can grenades cost 120 sulfur. Satchel charges cost 480 sulfur. Rockets cost 1400 sulfur, and C4 cost 2200. Okay. As I stated earlier, you can actually, once you build a furnace, you can use that as a staircase to your base if you don't have one. Wooden key locks, by the way, these don't require you to make keys. So if you create a key, that's only if you need somebody else to use it. And honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Just, use your, or only unlock them yourself if somebody needs to like use it. But just wait till you have code locks to be able to, have somebody else use it if you're in a group. If you find something called a med crate, which is this little green box, you can actually recycle those and get medical syringes, which is a helpful tip. Something else that's really helpful is if you use practice servers. So if you go to modded and type in combat log, you're going to be able to practice all the different guns, which is another tip that one of the YouTubers I got tips from said as well. In terms of farming, if you do end up farming like 3 to 4 nodes and you're starting out, I would recommend running back to your base at that point. Anything above that, it starts to get a little sketchy, especially if you're solo. If you're going to be farming trees, I'd recommend maybe 5 to 6 trees before you go back in depot. Obviously, you can do more if you're feeling ballsy, but that's up to you, and it also depends on how populated the area is. If you end up getting a big boy gun that has 5.56 ammo, like a semi-rifle or an AK or something like that, you can actually shoot people through trees. So if somebody's standing behind that tree right there and I shoot them with like a bolty or a bolt action rifle or something like that, it'll actually go through the tree, but it won't do as much damage. I think it does something like only 60% of the damage or something. If you are starting out as well and you end up getting a level 1 workbench, I would recommend making a nail gun. Nail guns are really effective and they can give you a huge advantage over people with bows and spears, and even revolvers in some cases. Also, something that I didn't find out till recently is if you split up your materials when you're recycling, so if you have like two tech trash and you split them up into one each and then put them into 2 different slots, you're actually going to get more scrap than if you were to only put 2 together in there. So that's most of the tips that I'm going to recommend for beginners. Let's see what we're at in terms of time. We're at 28 minutes. Holy cow, that went a long time. Okay, yeah, so let's just go over the other Rust tips that we got from big YouTubers and we'll end it off. So let me get out of here, exit game. And let me get into the videos. So some of the YouTubers I got was B Chills, Coconut B, Iris PvP, Cure the Feared, Motion, Pablo Escobar, and Shaki HD. So let's start with Shaki.
Something happened. Fucking lag, bro.
You know what? I think we're gonna be friends.
$2, man.
Jackie, I'm new at Rust. Do you have any tips for me?
No, this game's dog shit. Uninstall it, please. It's the only way you can fucking help yourself. Gotta go back to base with all this crap.
Okay, so that was Shaki. He basically said, no, just get rid of the game. Uninstall it. We'll do B Chill, or no, we'll do Coconut B. Another pretty sarcastic response.
Of Rust tips. Trying to put together a list of Rust tips for beginners. Any suggestions?
Oh, yeah. Don't die, kill people, scam, and profit. Yeah.
Okay, so that was his tip. Don't die, kill people, scam, and profit. B Chills.
Everybody's got it today. I was like, what is that? Oh, is it Starman right now?
You give me any tips? I don't know, man.
Aim for the head.
Dude, right here.
He said aim for the head. A lot of these people, they just don't give very good responses. The Iris PvP probably gave the best response.
Tried once, tried twice. Headshot him.
I'm new
Down.
at Trust. Do you have any tips for me?
Yo, Cypher King, thank you so much for the 5 drop. I saw you drop that just like, I think I heard it right as that left you. I really do appreciate it, homie. Hearts in the chat, boys. And also, thank you so much for the fucking 3 drops. So, you total 8, bro. Appreciate the donuts, man. I'm new at Rust. Do you have any tips for me? You always want high ground. I recommend doing something with practice servers to some extent. Just going through at least the guns for like a couple minutes each. I think that's pretty alright. It'll help you out with like the beginning guns, especially the starter weapons, because that's what you're most likely going to be using for the first couple hundred hours. Yeah, I already have 4. So yeah, at least try out the guns. Learn the bow velocity and crossbow velocity. That's kind of I think is pretty important. Beyond that, what I would do is just like learn the fundamentals by watching tutorials. That helped me a lot. Even I played Rust Legacy the first month it came out, and even I watched tutorial videos to learn a few bits and bobs about things, just to make sure I was, even after like I had spent like a couple hundred hours, I still would watch them just see if there's anything that I missed. Because when you start off in a new game that has like a pretty big level of depth to it, like Rust, you got to be open to being humble as fuck when it becomes like your knowledge on the game, right? So that's the suggestion. Run through the guns, and then the rest is just like if you've played another shooter, it kind of will help transfer over pretty well. Stuff like peeking, like you don't want to slow peek things usually. It's usually not a good idea unless like you're trying to be sneaky and like they haven't heard you. Like you don't usually want to peek like this at people. You want to be quick peeking and like, yeah, stuff like that. High ground's usually good in most cases. Head glitching is a thing in this game. But keep in mind that, what are you doing? Don't shoot me.
Fucking you up.
No, stop. Get
Oh
on
shit.
girl. Keep in mind there is this game isn't exactly like CS:GO and some other shooters where like your eyes are actually on the top of your forehead. They're actually where they're supposed to be, so your head does go a little bit higher than you can see. Like so, my head's showing right now, even though I can't see. My head's showing, even like right here. My head's probably still showing. So stuff like that.
So those are pretty good tips. Just do the other few and we'll get out of here. So Kira the Feared.
Yo, do you have an extra rev?
Let's go recycle.
Oh
shit.
My old chum.
So you guys come to recycle or you gonna go?
Fuck, dude.
Okay.
Try play on
Naked where we fought.
low
where
pop
we
server
were
at first, just learn all the
originally,
game
or is it south-
mechanics. I'd say
southwest?
there's a lot you gotta learn.
I just banked.
That was pretty much all he said. Just play on a low pop server.
E20.
This was motion.
Huge.
The Asian Zerg that we. Don't play solo, bro. Play. How much I'm into Rust? What tips do you have for me? Don't play solo, bro. Play with the group. What other tips? Wait, what tips do you have to someone new to Rust? Well, don't play Rust first of all.
Find
That's,
people that already know how to play the game to play with you.
Yeah. Get a group going, man.
Yeah, the group. It's too hard to. It's too hard to learn solo.
Impossible.
Pretty fucking hard to start in Rust at this stage. I couldn't imagine trying to learn Rust in the state that it's in right now. I don't know much for you, man. Yeah, just try and find a group. If you find a group that's experienced or just has, 1,000 or a few hundred hours on Rust, you'll learn quickly off them.
So basically find a group was that one. Don't play solo if you're starting out. And then last we have Pablo Escobar.
I'll take a med.
Guys, be careful. There was revolver shots close by your base.
Shit. Punk, I appreciate the free man. Thank you. Rich Rush, can you give me any tips? Yikes. Honestly, I'd say go on some combat tag servers. Get used to the gun mechanics. Figure out which gun you like the most. Go on some building servers. Get used to the building. Like, practice building quickly, because you're gonna need to build pretty quick in some situations. But other than that, really, just don't trust anyone in Rust.
Don't trust anyone Rust. Build quickly. Practice build servers. And practice PvP servers. So that's everything, guys. I hope you got some value from these tips. If you do like these videos, please let me know by leaving a comment or a like, and make sure you join the Discord link in the description of this video. So until I see you guys next time, happy Rust playing.